ain't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth Somalia subscribers? It's Blerd Without Fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, so today's video, I'm going to be talking about X-Men number 33, written by Gerry Duggan with art by Joshua Cassara and color by Romulo Fajardo Jr. So Sebastian Shaw has been playing both sides against the middle. We see this when we kind of open up this comic, and it really sells the story that Sebastian does not care. Sebastian Shaw has been out here, basically just been out here playing whichever side he feels is going to win, and that's kind of been something we've been seeing over the course of Immortal X-Men. We've seen this in the Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10. We have seen that he is just waiting to see who is going to be the one that he can rely on and is going to be the safest bet for him to put all his chips down on. And we even see in this that he even muses about a third party. What if a third party were to come in, you know, not Orcus, not the mutants, but an outside force comes in and happens to be the winning side? He's gonna throw in his lot with them as well. That's just what he's going to do. And basically what he's referring to is the Dominion. So I don't know if we're actually gonna see Sebastian Shaw get to speak with Enigma. And honestly, I kind of feel like even if that were to somehow be the case, it almost kind of seems like it would be rushed in a way. I feel like this is something that, and this is probably speaks to a larger problem with the stuff that's going on with the Fall of X books. It kind of feels like they're rushing to get to the end. It was a criticism I've seen laid at the feet of X-Force number 50, which, to be fair, I feel like that series probably could have used another issue. I know 50 is a very pretty number to end on, but yeah, maybe 52 would have been better. Like, you know, maybe give another couple of issues, let that story cook a little bit. And I feel like this is kind of dangerously, if this is the direction they're going, I feel like this could potentially be equally as dangerous. But you know, we don't know. We won't know till we get there, so I'm not gonna judge it as harshly just yet. But I will definitely say, yeah, this has been a legitimate criticism and fear on the minds of a lot of people in regards to how these X books are just kind of whoop, hand waved away. We're done. All right, we're out of here.
Bye, have a great time.
All that said, we also see that Shinobi Shaw is hanging around still, which is kind of funny because we haven't seen Shinobi Shaw in quite a while. Outside of this issue, he appeared in a Infinity comic issue of Alligator Loki, but since then, we have not seen him since Gerry Duggan's Marauders number 26. And to put that in perspective for you, that issue came out roughly, I want to say, like the end of 2021, like December 2021, like right before the turn of the new year. So this issue, seeing him, like, if you were to just, you know, somehow not be as dialed in on all things X-Men and didn't know who the character was or why you should care, I would forgive you if you felt a little weird about his inclusion in this, like being like, oh, well, where is this coming from? But for those who have not been keeping up, Shinobi Shaw is the illegitimate son, or, you know, I say quotey fingers son of Sebastian Shaw. And I say quotey fingers because we recently learned in that very last issue that we saw him in of Marauders, issue number 26, we learned that his daddy is very likely, and I would even say in all accounts, is not Sebastian Shaw. It's actually one of Sebastian Shaw's Hellfire Club allies, Harry Leland. Leland is the pappy in all of this, and that has kind of led to, well, nothing, because we didn't really get to see how any of that was going to play out because Gerry Duggan's been moved away from Marauders and began writing X-Men. None of that has come up since then. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this all kind of fell flat for me. This all was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it was cool that it happened, but I was just like, okay, I guess. I kind of had to go back and reread a couple of issues of Marauders just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I feel like this should have been built up more, but you know, all that aside, that's my criticism of it right there. But considering that Shinobi Shaw and Sebastian Shaw don't have the greatest of relationship even before all this, it's not surprising that Shinobi is throwing in his lot with the X-Men, even though traditionally speaking, he is more of an X-Men villain as opposed to an X-Men ally. But just to think about the fact that he doesn't like Sebastian Shaw. He now knows Sebastian Shaw is not his father, and we also gotta keep in mind Sebastian's been keeping secrets from Shinobi. Case in point, how Shinobi Shaw actually died. He's told him that Emma Frost and Kate Pryde were the ones who unalived him, but in truth, he unalived himself in Matthew Rosenberg's Uncanny X-Men number 20. So it's one of those deals where, you know, Sebastian has been trying to manipulate Shinobi to keep him against his enemies, to use him as a weapon against them, and not even just like a physical one, but as a political and social one. So yeah, all that aside, yeah, none of this is surprising. Shinobi very likely knows what actually happened. I'm pretty sure there was probably some conversation that happened off panel where he and Emma Frost, had a realization about the truth of what was going on. And I feel like maybe, not to, crap on Jerry Duggan, but I feel like, maybe he only just recently remembered this was something he could use. I don't know. I would like to believe there's a bigger plan, but yeah, this just all kind of fell incredibly flat for me. But speaking of Emma Frost and Kate Pryde, they get a lot of good business in this issue. Emma gets extra spicy, even going as far as to giving mutant kind something that I believe, in the words of Paul Mooney, would classify as a nigga wake-up call.
Wake up, nigga.
Kate also gets to save Callisto from being crucified, so there's that. And then we also get to see some, ninja Shadow Cat action going on in there as well. So, that stuff is good too. And a lot of the action in this is very well handled. But getting back to the Shaws of it, the reason why Shinobi is able to help the X-Men is because since Sebastian Shaw is playing both sides against the middle, that he has inside baseball on what Orcus is doing. And he has shared that information with Shinobi. And Shinobi is now spilling the tea to the X-Men. So that's why we get to all this. That's how we wind up finding director Killian Devo. And what I find very interesting about this is that director Devo has largely taken a backseat in all of this. Like, he shows up very sparingly across all of the entire X line of comics since the House of X era began. And I will definitely say that while I kind of get the reasonings behind why, but I feel like when Jonathan Hickman kicked off his X-Men series with X-Men number 1 introducing us to Devo, I feel like there was going to be something more to him, and we do not see him hardly ever. As a matter of fact, and I actually went and looked this up, he has only appeared in a scant 14 comics in the last 5 years. Like, and I can even read them all to you. He shows up in House of X number 6. He shows up in X-Men number 1 and 6, and as well as issue number 20 by Jonathan Hickman. He shows up in Inferno number 1 and 2 and 3 by Jonathan Hickman. He shows up in Jerry Duggan's X-Men number 9. And, well, yes, he shows up in like a couple of Infinity, he shows up in a couple of the X-Men Infinity comics, number 45 and 112. He shows up in X-Men Before the Fall, Sons of X number 1, and Children of the Vault number 1. And he shows up in X-Force volume 6, number 45 by Benjamin Percy. But the thing I find very interesting about this is that he has not shown up in a proper X-Men comic until this issue, since showing up in Jerry Duggan's X-Men number 9. So yeah, this guy just is a non-entity, and I feel like this is one of those situations where I feel like I'm supposed to care about this character, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't think anyone at Marvel cares about this character. He just shows up when it's appropriate. He doesn't really even say a whole lot. I think the most we've ever heard him say is in X-Men number 1 by Jonathan Hickman and his appearance in Inferno. Beyond that, the dude don't really talk very often. So it's just like, yeah, we know this guy's supposed to be important because Omega Sentinel, she was sent back in time by Enigma from an alternate reality, and she was sent back to arrive 5 years earlier than when Orcus was supposed to appear and galvanize Devo into creating Orcus. So yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to care about this guy, but I'm gonna just go and tell you right now, the in-universe reason as to why we haven't seen him is because he is the king on the chessboard. He is the guy that you're supposed to protect at all costs, so he's been hidden away. That's why we don't see him very often. At least that's kind of the impression I got from the storytelling in this issue. And it's funny to me too, because it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but what is his purpose? And the purpose is that, well, if Orcus should fail, he's going to revive Orcus. He's the only person who can do it, apparently. No one else can create an anti-mutant organization. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Surely not a William Stryker, not a Graydon Creed, not a Cameron Hodge, all of which are characters who have either died or been resurrected or turned into cyborgs at some point or another. Yeah, I think there's a growing thread here that if you become a cyborg, you're just gonna automatically hate mutants, because that's another thing that comes up here is that Devo has augmented himself so much that, while yes, we knew he had cybernetic implants, it seems that, while we knew Moira and Omega Sentinel, Nimrod, they are all cybernetic or fully synthetic, it was one of those deals where I kind of felt like Devo was not all the way in on that, but apparently his entire brain is cybernetic now. He got the full Ghost in the Shell package. He can literally he could probably do the little plug in the back of the neck thing and talk to people without moving his mouth. He could probably do that. I get what the strive was for, but like, I feel like, a lot of it falls flat. And when the X-Men do show up to take on Devo, another thing I thought was very interesting, and I like these little callbacks, but I kind of find it funny that we don't see more of them from Orcus, because that was one of the big things with Orcus, is that they had taken so many different assets from Hydra, AIM, damage control, so on and so forth. And we rarely ever saw them use them on any major level. But here we actually get to see that something that damage control had in their possession was the negative zone projector from Civil War. And Devo has it, and he's using it to get rid of the X-Men in this. But one thing that's kind of funny in all this is that it seems Devo is keyed in on the overall plan of Orcus, or at least some part of it. I don't know if he knows the full breadth of it, like Sentinel City and all of that. I don't know if he is completely keyed in on it, but I mean, it would make sense if he was. He doesn't make any mention of the plan, and honestly, it doesn't matter because he's killed off in this issue. So his last appearance, which is his first appearance in quite some time, is at least in an X-Men proper title, is his last. And that's feels kind of like I don't know, I just feel like they stopped trying. Yeah, it's like, get this guy out of here. Yeah, he's done. He's cooked. And with that, this also kind of is how we get the D-Men. We get the D-Men, the X-Men of Doom back, which I just thought was amazing. I love this. Which I appreciate that they've become quite chummy. I mean, they did become chummy, the X-Men and the X-Men of Doom, they did become chummy in their more recent appearance. So yeah, I love seeing them come back. I also liked how Slag is like, you're just giving high fives with Ms. Marvel, and while we don't get to see much of the other characters, Volta is probably the one with the most dialogue when Wolverine gives her an open invitation to join the X-Men, and for the rest of the X-Men of Doom to join the X-Men as well, she just kind of blows off. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. It's cute because I feel like if Jerry Duggan was still going to be writing this series past this, or if he comes back to something else later at Marvel in regards to X-Men, maybe something will be done with this, or maybe this is set up for a writer to use these characters, or at least one of these characters down the road. It just seemed like such a waste, because I feel like there was so much fanfare in introducing these characters, and yet we'll probably never see these guys again. Let's just be honest. And it makes me sad. It makes me incredibly sad. We might, who knows, maybe in the From the Ashes stuff, but I wouldn't even expect to see them that soon. Like it'll be like 5, almost maybe 2, 3, 4 years. I would say 5 is probably the best number to look at, and even then might be even further than that. I did appreciate the fact that the respect was being put on the X-Men of Doom's name, considering how much fanfare they got coming into the thing. And they're just, I don't know, makes me sad. We got 2 more issues left of X-Men after this one, so who knows, maybe we'll see them again. But I don't expect them to hang around any longer than the Krakoan era will allow them. The thing I think bears a lot of telling, though, is Nimrod. Nimrod doesn't give a damn, and it's just how far he's come in not worrying about external threats. He feels like they're about to win. Why should he be scared of anyone? Cyclops, especially, of all people. He's not worried about Cyclops. He's not worried about the X-Men either. So the fact that he's just like, yeah, pull up or don't, it ain't gonna matter. We're still hooking up with the Dominion. You can pull up if you want to, but I mean, you're gonna get met. That's basically the energy that Nimrod gives Cyclops' his issue. Like, he could have killed him. He could have unalived Cyclops, and yet he did not do it. Not because he didn't want to, he just didn't care enough to do so. There's nothing Cyclops can do that can stop him, and Sentinel City is going off without a hitch. And when we get to see Sentinel City, we actually saw this in Fall of the House of X #3, but I mean, it was just like kind of a, you know, just at the end of the issue shot of it. And, you know, it's not like the Sentinel City, at least not currently, as what we saw in Earth X, which is kind of where that comes from, or at least, you know, kind of as an homage to. But yeah, it looks like a giant technodrome, like straight out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is what it looks like. And it's awesome looking though. And while I definitely think this is a weapon they're going to try to use to assimilate the entirety of Earth's population in preparation for the Dominion, I could also potentially see this as even, you know, kind of being something similar to, not in terms of having like the, you know, the temporal, you know, flux, you know, that temporal shielding that the children of the Vault have, where like time passes differently. I don't think it's that, but I mean, just having something on that level, like a place, a home for Sentinel, something that like I feel will definitely be destroyed by the time this is all said and done, and maybe somewhere down the road will be brought back for whatever reason later. But the X-Men, it's coming to an end, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Like, I think I said it in my previous video. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out up here. It's the you know, why the Krakoa era needs to end. Bear in mind, I'm actually talking about that from more of a storytelling perspective, not from an actual IRL. I may actually do an IRL reason why I'm actually okay with the stuff ending, and I've kind of given it a hint of some of how I feel about that. But yeah, it's not to say that, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this. It's not even that, you know, I hate what I'm reading right now. It's just that I feel like it could have been so much better. And I feel like I feel like a lot of that's because it's being rushed. Like, the same argument people are making about X-Men 97 and saying how, oh, they're just rushing through storylines. They only have 10 episodes. These motherfuckers got 35. They got 35 issues plus like a bunch of other spinoffs. So they have way more room to tell a story, and I feel like they're not using it properly. I feel like Marvel, you know, the X Office, I feel like they're just rushing through stuff. It's like, oh, we got deadlines. We got to meet the deadline. Just get through it. Just get through it. Just hurry up. Just, yeah, don't worry about that. I don't care if you trip over this. Just go. Like, that's what it feels like. Yeah, like when you watch like an action movie and there's always like, you know, the Black Ops team or the military team that's like on the helicopter, and the helicopter lands, and there's always, you know, the leader, the commander. He's like, go, and everybody's just like falling out of the helicopter. I feel like that's how these final X stories are being written. I feel like they're being written on that level, like, go. You gotta get there. We gotta get there now. The destination is more important than the journey. That's what I feel like is there. So if there's any legitimate criticism that I have, yeah, it's gonna be that. But anyway, you guessed it, obligatory channel outro time. If you're not subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. Clicking that subscribe button and tapping that notification bell ensures that you get more videos just like this one, and you don't miss any of my other content that I drop throughout the week, plus my live streams every Thursday and Saturday. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you click that like button, keep it plus ultra, and sound off in the comments.